Do you feel you progress slowly at everything? Or that you take more time than everyone else to complete the same tasks? When you're reading, you realize you've read several pages but you can't recall a single word? These symptoms may be signs you struggle with focus. The techniques you're about to learn are easier to implement than you think. Attention is trainable. The attention span an average person has is not necessarily and completely genetically predetermined. Yes, there are some really severe cases of ADHD, but even the environment surrounding someone with this disorder has a greater effect on it. If you are a person with a very short attention span, you are not alone. This issue has grown exponentially due to the overstimulating world we live in. But don't worry, there are many ways you can train your brain to increase your attention span. One very simple exercise you can do is to set a timer for a short period. Let's say no longer than 10 minutes, especially if your attention span is very short. And for that period, focus on working on a single task. Let's say answer emails. You are not allowed to do anything else, like answer incoming chat messages or anything that is not answering emails. It is very important that you stick to a single simple activity at first. Since you're training your brain, it is possible to work uninterruptedly for a certain period. After you're done with the first 10 minutes, you can make a pause from 2 to 5 minutes. In this pause, you're allowed to do anything you consider pleasurable, like browse the web or scroll through social media. When the pause is over, add an extra minute to the uninterrupted focus period, meaning you'll go from 10 to 11 minutes. Then give yourself another break no longer than 5 minutes. Keep repeating these work periods and increase a minute to each new one. It is very important that you don't try completing very large periods with no breaks, like 50 minutes. Since you're training your brain, it is capable of working uninterruptedly without stress for longer periods of time. Another excellent way you can teach your brain to improve its focus is by meditating. Lots of people think of meditation as something spiritual or religious, which can be for some people. But the truth is, it is one of the best scientifically proven tools to help you improve your focus. The main idea of meditation, different from a religious ritual, is to teach your brain not to wander in past thoughts or worries from the future, but to be present in the now. Many people think this is achieved by clearing your mind from any thoughts, but as you may guess, this is nearly impossible. By contrast, what you need to do is focus on something present and neutral that does not allow your mind to wander. An excellent technique to accomplish this is by focusing on your breathing. By this, we mean listen to your breathing. Feel how your lungs get full of air, and then feel how that air travels on its way out when you exhale. Pay attention to every aspect of it. If suddenly an external sound distracts you, or you start wondering in other things, which we assure you will happen very frequently as you master the ability, don't be too hard on yourself and simply get back to paying attention to your breathing. You could start a meditating routine in the morning from as little as 3 minutes and slowly increase the periods as you master the technique. By doing this, you will be amazed by how greatly you also start focusing on other activities of your daily life. Schedule the start and end of a working session. People that struggle with focus usually also have anxiety issues. One way to help relieve that anxiety before you start any working session is to have a clear end time. If there isn't a defined period for which you'll be working, it is easier to accumulate stress during the session. Another very important reason you should have a finishing defined time for the working session is because focus, and especially deep focus, demands a lot of energy. And here's the thing, if your mind does not know for how long you will work, meaning for how long it needs to maintain a high focus level, it will aim to maintain it for the longest period possible. Therefore, unconsciously, your mind will not provide the level of focus it could give you if it knew the session will only last 2.5 hours. Play white noise in the background. Studies have indicated that low-intensity white noise can boost memory performance, enhance sleep, and also improve focus. But what exactly does white noise mean? White noise is a sound that combines all frequencies at equal intensities. When you listen to white noise, you're essentially hearing 20,000 different sound frequencies. The best common example of white noise is TV static sound. White noise is a popular tool for studying, especially in noisy environments like coffee shops or college campuses. White noise played through your headphones eliminates background noise and distractions, allowing you to stay focused on your work. According to a study, children with attention deficit disorder were able to concentrate for longer periods with the help of white noise. White noise is worth experimenting with if you want to improve your ability to concentrate. And the great news is that it is at your fingertips. Just look up the word white noise in a music app or YouTube, and you'll find tons of options to choose from. Don't multitask. For a terrible reason, multitasking became called an ability, and an ability that pretty much is required in most job positions today. The higher in management the position, the more critically required this so-called ability is. Let's start by understanding what most people think multitasking is versus what it really is. Most people think multitasking is a superhuman ability to do many tasks at the same time, like taking 2 different conference calls while you work on 2 other reports and answer emails. The really sad truth about multitasking is that it does not exist. There are 2 types of tasks: automatic tasks like walking, and more cognitive complex tasks like having a conversation. You can do several automatic tasks at the same time with no issues, like chewing gum while walking, and even add on top of those a cognitive complex task like talking to someone on the phone. But you cannot add a second cognitive complex task like writing an email. When you add a second complex cognitive task, you will start switching from one task to the other. You'll be either listening to your phone conversation carefully or you'll be writing the email. You can do both at the same time and not lose track of what is happening with the other cognitive complex task. When at work you attend a conference call while replying to an email and working on a spreadsheet, you are not doing those 3 tasks at the same time. You are switching between those tasks. Maybe switching very quickly, but you are switching. There is no simultaneous cognitive complex task doing, and that is a problem. Every time you get back to a task after an interruption, it takes time and energy to get back to the same level of focus you had before the interruption. There are studies that say you take around 23 minutes to get hyper-focused on a task, and that time is not decreased when someone interrupts you. It will take you those full 23 minutes to get back to the same level of focus you had prior to the interruption. So just picture the level of focus you have when you switch several times a minute between several tasks. Yes, you may be tackling several tasks, but very superficially. Get rid of distractions. After having discussed how difficult it is to enter a deep focus level, the best you could do is try to diminish the distractions that could occur during your work session. There are 2 types of distractions: the external distractions and the internal distractions. External distractions are noises you could hear, people that may interrupt you, etc. These are distractions from your environment. Some people are not very mindful of their surroundings before starting a work session. They could be at their family room along with their family who is watching a TV series. That may not be a good idea. Plan for the minimum external distractions to occur. What you could do is, before starting your work session, remove all possible external distractions. And in case you cannot remove those distractions, you should get away from them. If your family is very noisy and they're watching a movie, the best you could do is have your work session in a different room, so you can either get rid of an external distraction or get away from it. Regarding the internal distractions, meaning the distractions that come from your mind, we have already given you advice on how to cope with them in the first 2 points of this video. Plan very specifically what you will do before starting. Planning before a work session is crucial to make sure it is productive and that you stay focused on it. Have you ever started a working session and felt lost and not knowing where to start? Or felt that the work was more difficult than it actually was? This could be because you're not planning your working sessions. When you break down on very specific, actionable steps what needs to be done, your mind can fully focus on getting them completed instead of focusing on how to complete them. Let's say your boss asks you to send him the annual sales report by tomorrow, a report that usually takes several days to complete. You could either allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the complexity of the report, or you could break down in very simple and specific steps the actions you need to take to get it completed, like number 1, download the whole country's sales report. Number 2, brainstorm the 3 most important aspects you want to highlight in the report, and so on. Even the most difficult achievements in life are conquered by doing very simple actions that altogether end up in a very complex outcome. Establish work-only specific areas. Another great way to help your brain enter a state of profound focus is by establishing a work-only space. It has to be a physical place. As we just explained, it is very important that the place you establish is an appropriate space. The whole point is for you to help your brain get into deep focus mode automatically when you enter this space. To do this, you need to make sure to just work when you are in this place. You are not allowed to rest, take breaks, or browse the web when you are in it. This is critically important because you're teaching your brain that the only mode it can be at this place is a profound working focus. Understand the difference between delayed gratification versus instant gratification. Just as we explained in the first point of this video, everyone's attention span has been decreased because of the instant gratification availability of today's world. And this has taken us away from the gratification mode that shaped us throughout evolution, which is delayed gratification. Human beings learn through evolution that hard work and consistency pays off. That is the reason why we have become the ruling species in our planet. We knew that if we worked hard enough to build shelter and create a stock of food for the winter, it would guarantee our survival for the next season. So work became our number 1 source of joy and sense of purpose. But technology has changed things forever, and it has created something so disruptive that our brains cannot cope with: instant gratification. Think of all the tasteful food you can instantly grab from your pantry or fridge, or all the hyper-stimulant content you have access on the web. If you want your brain to perceive things as our ancestors did in the past, you should make it experience the natural flow it was shaped after, which is work first, gratification after. It is not that difficult. We are not asking you to abstain yourself from dopamine. We are just asking you to teach your brain that the incredible dessert in the fridge will not become available unless you finish the work that needs to be done first. So instead of giving yourself up to instant gratification, reset your mind to its original state, in which it focuses on working for long periods to be rewarded only after work has been completed. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.